What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to My Social Life. This is the podcast where you can hear the real stories behind the people on social media. I'm your host, Jacob Kelly. And before we jump into today's conversation with Jason Morena, there's a couple things that we need to go over first. Number one, if you enjoyed today's podcast, please consider leaving a rating and a review. The more positive ratings and reviews you get, the more it helps new people find the show. And it really helps to grow the community that we're developing here. And if you're one of those people that have recently found the podcast, welcome. I'm very excited to have you here. Make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for future episodes. And to everybody listening, make sure you screenshot this, post it to your Instagram story, tag at My Social Life Podcast, and I'll feature you on the account and send you a message as well. And one final thing before we get into today's episode, guys, there's about a 15-minute period where the alarm in Jason's building started going off. There's nothing we can control, so we decided we're just going to power through with the interview and kept going. So there's a little bit of a window in this episode where you hear the alarm. It's not the end of the world. It does not ruin the interview at all. I'm very excited for you guys to listen to this episode. So without further ado, let's get to my conversation with Jason Morena. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to My Social Life. Today, we're joined by Jason Morena, and Jason is a videographer on Team GaryVee, and I'm very excited to have him here on the podcast today. Jason, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Or Jacob, rather.
It's going well, man. I'm very, very happy that you took the time of your day to be on this podcast. And where I want to start, so with the context of the podcast, a lot of it's social media and stuff, and we'll talk about Vayner as well. But where I want to start is the importance of taking a breather, because if I remember correctly from doing my research, it was when you got into videography, it was kind of a point in your life where you took a breather from everything for a minute, and that's where you fell into videography, right?
I think you could say so. Well, video started for me through hiking, and it all started through just a GoPro. And I'd say, yeah, in a way, that was a breather, and then video followed through it. So yeah, definitely.
So can you talk to me about those hikes then, where you first kind of got into video? So it was just using a GoPro to kind of document your travels and your adventures?
Yeah, so I started hiking probably in 2016. I had seen my dad go up to the Catskills. It's about like a 4-hour drive from where I live on Long Island in New York. And basically I was like, I want to start doing hikes. I had, always been kind of into the outdoors and whatnot. But one day I just picked up my buddy, and we did a day hike in the Catskills. And then I later fell into a relationship, and I was doing a lot of hikes with that girl at the time. And I was just taking pictures on my phone, and basically I have a godmother, my aunt, who was like, I want to get you a GoPro. And I was like, no, like, I don't want you to, spend money on something, like, it's like my birthday, but she ends up sending it to me. And that was kind of like a really big catalyst of just documenting the hikes. And that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to like take pictures of and make mashups and make cute videos, at that time, like in video.
So then I guess, was it you got into photography after you got into video? Then like video came first?
Yeah, video definitely came first. And I had dabbled with it, prior to this. This is, we're talking 4 years ago, but I had made mashups of my friends, and, I think a lot of people had. And at that point there was no like, this is going to be my career. And even in 2017 with the GoPro, I didn't, I didn't think it would go into, a career. But basically got the GoPro. Then I kept coming home from school, and my dad was watching Casey Neistat. He was watching a vlogger, and I didn't understand what that meant. I thought it was super weird. And then I started watching, and I was, totally infatuated. So then I ended up buying an 80D, which was the same camera Casey was using. It's kind of like one of the bigger investments. I got a credit card for it, and there was no ploy. I didn't want to make money. I literally just wanted to take. I really liked, a high res image, a high res, quality video, and what he was doing with it. He was just documenting his everyday life, and I just wanted to do a little bit of the same, not necessarily a vlog, but just document my day to day a little bit more quality.
Mm-hmm. And obviously now, like, that camera has led you to your job with Gary, but before you worked at Vayner, I think it was like a year before, you were in college and working at State Farm, right?
Yes. Yeah. I worked at State Farm for, I don't know, maybe like 3 years or so. So, yeah, it was money in college, and it wasn't, a dirty job or anything. It kind of stemmed when I first graduated high school. Not to go off on a tangent, but moved to Illinois. I had been dating a girl for a while. She moved out there in 11th grade, and then I'm living out there. Her parents work for State Farm. I end up working for State Farm. Fast forward, I moved back to New York. I'm still working at State Farm, so that's kind of why I was in that.
Yeah, That's fair. And then what were you going to school for at that time then?
At that time, when I first joined school, I had actually no idea. I was an undeclared major, and that was interesting. When I joined, State Farm seemed like a good career path because I could see what the girlfriend's parents were doing. Uh, but at that time, I was very uneducated. Wish I had found Gary a little bit earlier. I was kind of chasing dollars because I didn't come from much of that, and I was like, basically, I was like, I want to do something that helps people, but I also want to make six figures, which was a very like immature way of like thinking about like I don't know after school. Um, yeah,
And and then so like when did you start to pursue video and photography kind of more heavily? Because I saw like I think it was you posted that you were used to like sit in class at college, like obviously doing something you don't want to be doing and sitting in the back of the room just editing videos.
yeah. So basically, I get the GoPro. My sister's fiance at the time was a wedding videographer, and he had a drone, and I was like obsessed with it. I was like, wow, you can get truly cinematic shots, and it's just fun to fly. So now I have this GoPro and a drone, and now like Casey, so I have ADD, so I have like essentially like a kit to start doing stuff. And I think I did one like real estate kind of shoot. It was like kind of just like promoting the agency, and like they wanted more of a social media presence. That was like my first gig. It was my girlfriend's at the time, like parents like agency. So it was a super low key gig. And then it started like I started really picking up basically when my sister tagged me in a post on Facebook. It was some gentleman who owned a kickboxing studio, and he wrote like in the post like need a video intern, like someone like kid or a student or anyone who's passionate about video, like blah blah blah. And I wasn't gonna respond or anything, but I did, and I ended up getting on a phone call and then meeting this gentleman who owned a kickboxing school, and basically he's like, hey, you should check out this Gary Vee guy, and I was like, all right, whatever. This is in March or February of 2017. So basically he's like, hey, like he documents his life. He's like, I kind of want to do that for my gym. He's like, I want to document the instructors. He's like, I want to make like essentially a reality show, for Facebook to just show the community, like what we do here and why we're different and why we're not just some, regular gym. And basically had a huge presence like in our community on Long Island. So basically he just wanted to like totally destroy and do something completely different. So that's when I started doing something weekly, and getting paid for it. And it was very minimal, like very like I was making virtually nothing because I was putting so much time and energy into it because I wanted to. It was fun to like make a little money, but also it was just like, okay, I have free range to do anything. It's not that high pressure. Like I'm still in school. I still have State Farm. Like this is just extra, and I enjoyed doing it. Um, that led to basically doing that vlog, and then this gentleman takes me to Gary's office for the first 4Ds, and that was the first time I had documented just like a third person vlogged someone. He wanted someone to document his day at VaynerMedia, and that was my like first taste of that. So that was and basically with that gentleman, that's when it started really firing off.
Okay. So just kind of like back to when you're in college and like editing these videos for this guy's gym, like what is some advice you'd have to people who are in a similar situation to you were in, where you're sitting in the classroom knowing this isn't what you want to be doing and you're working on what you actually want to be doing in your class? Like what would you say to people that are kind of in that situation right now?
I think, and like in my shoes, I was still in school and I'm paying for it, and so it's not like I'm just like pushing my books aside and I'm like I'm gonna like I'm gonna get an F. I'm still actually making a decent effort to like do well in these classes because it's not like I don't know where my career is gonna go in video. Like it seems awesome, but school seems like the most promising. It's something that's gonna yield a degree and whatever. So I don't know if I want to give the advice to just stay focused in school, but I would say I was just squeezing so much time afterwards. Like that, like that's the advice. Is like just don't like basically you should value that time after school, whatever it is. Like it's fine and good to go hang out, but I don't know. Like looking back, like when I was work filming at that gym from like 7 to 11 at night, and then like editing afterwards, and it's super late. That time was super valuable. If I wasn't hustling and working then, I don't think it would have snowballed the way it did. So my advice is just to really squeeze those extra moments, especially like I don't know, like you're young, like I don't know, I had so much energy, like I still do, and like it's dwindling a little bit now that working on this team. I definitely feel it. But I don't know, just you cashing in that extra time is so valuable.
Yeah. And then kind of looking back at your whole college experience, then like I feel like the big debate right now is whether school is worth it or not. And just kind of looking how your life has played out since then, where do you land on with school now? Is like, do you think it's something people should be doing, they shouldn't be doing? Does it depend on what you want to do? Like, what's your feelings towards
Yeah.
it?
I don't know. I think about it a lot. I'm always consuming. I'm always in Gary content. That question comes up a lot. Gary, he doesn't have a straight answer. I mean, maybe he does, but for me, um, it really depends. I mean, if you want to be a nurse, like there's like binary things. If you want to be a nurse, like you gotta go to school. Like this is how it works. Like you gotta do that thing. It's more of a question. It's like, well, why do you want to be a nurse? Like, do you want to just make 6 figures? Like, do you actually like helping people? Like, I don't know. But if it comes to someone that wants to do video, I don't know. Like, I really feel like you don't need to go to school. It's a good, but I feel like going to school for me, like, taught me, and it basically like it made me patient because I wasn't like every day stressing video. I still had to put time allocated into school, and then video was on the side. So I don't know, being patient and like letting it marinate, and just being kind of, there's something about being in school, working part time, living at home or your dorm. It's a total different like time in your life. School sometimes the break, work sometimes the break. I would talk about it with my friends. Like sometimes we liked when the school semester would come along because we had a little bit break from work, and you can do like, I don't know. I did a lot of thinking and a lot of other things in classes, and I think that was honestly like positive. Like, I mean, I ended up with a lot of debt, obviously, from school. But there is, I don't know, there's a conversation around like going to school because you maybe haven't solidified this thought that you want to be a music artist or a videographer, and you need that time. And I think, I don't know, if you don't go to a private school, like you're not gonna fall into that much debt. It's a weird, I don't know. I don't have a straight answer, but I'm not all against college. I think there is certain cases where it's beneficial even if you don't end up using that degree. It's just the time there.
No, I completely agree. But so we're talking about how you worked at State Farm, you were doing this video, you went to school, and I also was told that you used to do paparazzi. Is that true?
I didn't do paparazzi. That was one of it was basically the short answer is I did a paparazzi vlog. So by association, I was definitely a paparazzi. I was rolling around the streets with two gentlemen, Miles and Caesar. And this is a great story if you want me to go on about it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Dive right
Yeah,
into it.
this was like the first, I don't know like what to call this moment in my life, but um, big break, and it's still yielding to this day. Like this gig, and I'll go into like the explanation. Basically, I'm sitting in my car one night. I think I filmed at the gym, or I was coming home from school. I'm sitting in front of my house, and I didn't go in yet because I don't know. I don't know, just daily habit. Sometimes I just like would sit in my car, watch a video on YouTube, and I'm going through trending, and I see a BuzzFeed video, and it says "The Day in the Life of a Paparazzo" or paparazzi, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." I'm like, I don't know. For me, I was like, I've never really thought about like I know what paparazzi is, but I'm like, I've never really thought about like what their life might be like. And I start watching the video, and I'm like, damn, that's just like a kid like my age, and the video goes on to show them like romping around New York City and getting these shots that yield tens of thousands of dollars, and it was like a really crazy looking lifestyle. I was like, whoa, this is not something I want to do, but I'm like, I kind of like this. Like, this is like a really cool story. And at that time, I was really like hypersensitive when it came to like just finding out people's stories because I don't know, I was building like this vlog. Either way, I go to the beginning of the video, I find the kid's name, I go on Instagram, he has like 90,000 followers. I'm like, oh shit, all right, he's pretty relevant. I hit him up, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm like, would love to shoot a video, whatever, like, free." And I didn't expect him to answer me, but the next day, he hits me back, and he's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And I was like, "Awesome!" Or he's like, "Let's meet up, obviously first. He wants to make sure I'm like, normal." Uh, so I think a few weeks later, I met up with him, and we were in a cafe, and it was so funny. We kicked it off, and they're like, "Do you want to come roll with us? Because we gotta go." They're on the clock, basically, in their mind. And basically, they're like, they saw like a security guard, I think, or something. They're like, "Oh, that's Pink's driver." Like Pink the performer, and I'm like, "What?" And like she comes out, and it's this big scene, and I'm just like, I have my camera with me, so I'm already like rolling. And from that moment on, like it was a very exciting, weird an awesome like experience to like, I don't know, see a celebrity just come out the door and like all these paparazzi roll up and then you follow them to the restaurant and it's like this big scene. And this is like my first time meeting these two people. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Uh, basically, I later go on to film 10 episodes for them. It was like, I don't know, maybe like 3 months of shooting. It would basically be like go in one day for the week, film, and then edit. And then that was on top of school, State Farm, Ed's work, the gym, and then that. That was when I was pulling like the most late hours I've ever experienced and like the most hustle, if you want to put it that way. But yeah, it produced like what I think is like one of my most favorite projects was like this behind the scenes of two paparazzi in New York City. It was pretty fun.
That's wild. Do you have any other crazy stories over the course of when you were shooting them for those 10 episodes in those couple months?
Definitely. The first one that's coming to mind, I don't know if it's the craziest, but I think it was like the last episode or I don't know, but it was July, I think. And in the summer months are super crazy for them. In the winter months, it starts to slow down and celebrities they're not walking around. They're not like, in Soho, and they're in New York more likely versus like LA. But it was like Justin Bieber and Haley Baldwin. Like it was a craze. Like it was just day after day after day. It was like, go get Justin because that's where the money's at. And he was just accessible and they knew where he was. And so I was with them. And I think the day started off, it was basically I was always trying to bank on getting like the best day because I could only go out to New York City, like once a week. Like I couldn't put all my time into them. So it was luck of the draw. And this happened to be like an awesome day. It started out with like an American Idol star and she like got engaged and we're like basically chasing after her because she's like getting the ring resized. And that's kind of like a big story apparently. And if you get an exclusive on that, they can yield like, I don't know, thousands of dollars. So that's how the morning started. And then the crazier part was just Justin Bieber comes out of his hotel and then there's like 10 paparazzi groups, like whether it's one person or two people per car. Justin gets in his ride and he also has like a secondary like bodyguard ride. And then there's like 10 paparazzi cars and they're flying to Brooklyn because they're going to Haley Baldwin's house. And Justin Bieber, his ride is blowing the red. And that means there's like 12 cars after that blowing the red, paparazzi. And they're all trying to get in front of each other. And I'm filming and I have my buddy with me who's also like secondarily helping me film this. And it's really funny, but you look back in the footage and you look back in like the moment, you're like, wow, like we were all like flying over like the Brooklyn Bridge and ripping through like highways in Brooklyn. And it was hilarious and awesome. But just absolutely dangerous, like absolutely dangerous.
So like, how did they know where Justin Bieber is going to be in these celebrities? Like, how do they figure that out?
Yeah, so they have like a little network. Basically, it's kind of man eat man when it comes to the paparazzi because everyone wants like an exclusive, and that's because it's just going to yield more money. Like you're the only one that got that shot. But there's also, if there's paparazzi there, there's also autographers typically, graphers, and those are people that like make great money, 6 figures, and they're out there every day in New York City, waiting in front of theaters and apartments and whatnot, just trying to get the signature from The Rock or Justin Timberlake. So there's a connection there. So basically, I was with these paparazzi. They're hitting up graphers that they know. They're like, hey, who's in town? They're talking. So there's a little bit of a community there where they know where people are at. And then they're also like on social media, just like really looking at like micro things like, oh, they posted that cafe, they must be here for the weekend, stuff like that. And then they just, and it wasn't even like a written like log or anything. It was literally just in their head. They're like, okay, Justin's here. He's not at Haley Baldwin's house. And then they know what hotel he sleeps at or whatever his apartment is. It's a lot of just patterns, I think. But they also like know like micro details, like literally any black Escalade, I think that's the car. Yeah, Escalade. And they'll look at the license plate and they'll know exactly whose ride that is. They'll know if it's Rihanna's car or, she could be in it, but it could be just like her bodyguard driving around the car. But basically they know license plates. Like if they see like a dog, like literally like they'll know that dog before they even look up like belongs to like Selena Gomez, something crazy. So they have incredible memories, and they're like the way they take off people on the streets when they're driving is absolutely incredible. It's like I've never seen anything. Like I have really good eyesight, and literally I've seen them pick off someone like on a motorcycle with their, like, they didn't even turn their head. Like, it's just like the back of them from like 2 blocks down. They're like, oh, Jay Leno's over there, or, you know, something. And I'm like, what? I'm like, and I'm pretty funny. I'll be like, hold the phone. Like, how do you even see that? How do you know that? And then sure enough, it is. And it's just incredible.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's like, where does that project live today? Like, can people go and watch that? Like, I kind of want to go check that out.
Totally. Yeah, it lives on their YouTube page, 24/7 Paps. If you just type in Positive Paps, 001, 002, there's 10 episodes. That's what it was branded as, Positive Paps. And it's because and that name they already had, but it really, that's why I was doing it. If they were bad people and if they were like doing some scummy stuff, I would never do the blog for them. But I was really in love with the show because when you think paparazzi and what they do, it's very taboo and it's very intrusive. But they were actually like genuine, awesome, and like really nice people, and they were friends. Like were texting conversations with a lot of celebrities, like just because they've got to know them for, you know, like a decade or 5 years or whatever, and they're kind of like both on the come up. So there's like a relationship between paparazzi and celebrity, and they were cool. Like literally, if a bodyguard was like, "Hey, don't follow us," like, you know, they don't want it, they'd be like, cool, like, got it, because they're going to see that bodyguard again. So they knew they just knew like how relationships work. So and other paparazzi won't listen. They'll say like, yo, got it, but then they'll follow. And then I don't know, it's just it's a weird little world. But I was trying to shine light to that these were actual good human beings just doing this job that, you know, exists.
Yeah. And you said earlier how it's kind of like still benefiting you today. And so as an example of that, like, is that how you ended up shooting that William Bolton concert? Is that kind of how it's benefiting you down the road?
No, that one, that was just a kid. I was like in the cafe and I was editing, and his song came on Spotify, like shuffle or whatever. I ended up just following him on social, and then I had been keeping up with him, and then I had saw him at a Soho show, and then he posted that he was doing a Kentucky show, and so I just DM'd him, and that was just serendipity. That's just like the magic of the internet. That's just kind of how things go, and it's very easy. Like, so many filmers should be doing that. So many filmers should be going on Spotify and listening to artists that they like. And, you know, Drake's not gonna hit you back, but this kid didn't have that many followers. He was one of the first people I was like, oh wow, like he has music that's kind of popped off. He's really good, and I can DM him and he's gonna hit me back, and that led to a gig, and that was awesome.
That's sweet.
Yeah, so that's honestly, like, if any like creatives are listening, like, just do that stuff. Like, it's fun, and it's like, now I'm closer to that kid who I just like his music. So anyways, yielding today, I think, well, basically, I posted yesterday that I met Chet Faker, Nick Murphy, and basically he had been posting so many pictures in the Lower East ever since I started following him about a year ago. I'm like, oh wow, he lives in the Lower East, and he kept posting like the same spot over and over. And then I had sent it to one of my paparazzi friends. I'm like, do you know where this is? And he's like, yeah, that's like this park, or like, he's like, this is that street. I'm like, okay. And basically, I was like in the Lower East, and I was like, I wonder where that road was that, you know, my paparazzi friend said was, and it was like literally at the block next to me. So I'm walking down that road, and just because, like, I don't expect anything like Nick Murphy to be walking out, but he was like, he literally just walked past me, and I was like, no way. Like, it was very serendipitous, and it was yielded only because I had this relationship with them. Like, I would have never walked down that street. So even in a micro way, it's yielding, and I don't know. It's pretty funny how like stuff like compounds and still, I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny how kind of things like link together, you know, like in ways you won't expect. Which, like, kind of like that then is using that as an easy transition is when you worked for that gym, and then you ended up being at the first 4Ds, and now ultimately you work at Vayner.
Right. Totally.
So,
and 4Ds is the reason I got a job there, which is even more incredible. So it's stuff like that. You go ahead. I know, and you're going to jump in.
I was just going to say, so how did you like leverage that experience where you were in the office shooting 4Ds for your client that then turns into you working at Vayner?
Yeah. And those are two distant events, maybe like 2 years,
Okay.
job and then first 4Ds. Basically, the first 4Ds happened about a month into me working for Ed, the gym. And I got there and I was like, oh, this place is awesome. And by that time, I'm a fan of Gary. I just became a fan of him, and you know, I got to say hello to him, and that was awesome. And it was great to be in his office. And then, you know, I posted a shot. I'm like, it's an awesome photo, especially for me now. I was in, I don't even know what room that is. It's a boardroom, and I was watching the DailyVee that just went up that day, and I was like, watching the DailyVee in VaynerMedia, and then the D-Rock comments on it because I tagged Gary, and he's really deep in, I guess, the the content, Gary's content, and he hits me back with Inception or something. And then he later comes into the room and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And that was awesome because I had looked up to him. I was like, "Wow, this dude that is like defining and creating third person vlogging." And one of my like last questions before like he left out of the room was like, I'm like, "Hey man, like how do I like kind of like work here eventually, or like how would I do that?" He's like, "Well, you have my email." I'm like, "Awesome." And I just shot him literally, like, I was very young in my career, and I hit him with the email. I'm like, "Yo, here's all my stuff, like 4 videos," and I'm like, and I don't even think he hit me back at that time, which is so funny. And thank God, like I really wanted the job at that moment, and I thought I was very confident in like where I was, but I would have crumbled if D-Rock was like, "Yeah, man, like let's do it. Like you're an intern." Like that definitely wouldn't have been good. So there's definitely a lesson there. Like you can be ambitious and want to do these things, but you got to put in the work. Like I didn't know 5% of what I know in terms of video editing and and everything that comes with it.
Mm-hmm. And then, so can you talk about your first day at Vayner?
Yeah. I was thinking this like question almost would come up, so I was thinking about it a little bit. It's a very weird day. It's funny. I was at VaynerMedia. This was a Monday, but I was at VaynerMedia on the Friday before with like one of the clients that I had been working with, and that was funny because I was gonna be there like no matter what. And Andy had hit me up 3 days earlier. That's how quick it was. It was 3 days prior. It was basically like, okay, like we'll give you a shot. And I was like, I'm gonna be at the office anyways. And he's kind of like dumbfounded. He's like, all right. And then I met up with him in Gary's office. He's like, yep. He's like, we'll see you Monday. Like, let's just do this thing. And I'm like, all right. First day, I walk in and I got there really early. I was sitting in the kitchen at like 6:30, and there's like no one there, which is hilarious. And then like fast forward to like 9:30. I'm like, I think I messaged Andy, and he's like, "Oh, you're in the kitchen," and he comes and gets me, and I kind of just popped down at a desk. And this was right at the heat of Trash Talk, like Trash Talk 2, and I don't know who'd asked me to do it, but some way or another, they're like, some people need to get trash talk, like to get the trash talk stuff out of G's car, and they're like Jason. I went with Dustin, and I think Max. Max is another. He's an admin on our team now. He
Max
wasn't.
Brown?
Not Max Brown. Max
Oh.
Freed. He's like the third admin now, which is incredible because he was definitely not that kind of position back then. But either way, my first like 20 minutes, like, or 10 minutes officially like in it, they're like, go get the trash talk stuff. We take like the shaft elevator down, walk out to the street, like under like the High Line. Gary gets out, like he just like dapped us all up. I was like, okay, this is awesome, like great, like nice to meet you, G. And then we just brought like bags of like stuffed animals and mugs and stuff back up, and that's so funny looking back because my only expectation of what my job entails is you have 2 DailyVees this week to make, and like I'm not even an intern. I'm like freelance. They're like, okay, like Gary like hired you, quote unquote. Let's see if like you're actually good. And Andy was basically like, yeah, you're gonna make the DailyVees this week, which is kind of a daunting task, like going straight in. But I also have like this other expectation of like, oh, I might be doing anything, and sure enough, like the first 10 minutes of job, I'm like bringing up like trash talk stuff, which is so funny. And then basically like that day was like, it was like any first day. It was like here's our laptop, and I'm like, I really don't need it, like let me just start cooking on mine. Stuff like that. There was no proper orientation when I went, which was funny. Like I think it was the following day. Like I was sitting in orientation, and it was they were just going off about like just regular VaynerMedia policy and stuff. And I wasn't rude or anything, but I was like I turned to the HR guy, whom I'm definitely friendly with now. I was like, listen, I gotta go edit a DailyVee, or I'm not gonna be here. Like, I was like, and I literally left. I was like, listen, I already have a laptop. Like, I understand it. Like, I'm sorry. I'm like, I need to go edit. Like, I'm like, this has to be published tomorrow. I'm like, I gotta push this out. So that was the next day. But the first day was actually, I'm sorry, I'm totally like blowing the first day. The whole day goes on. I probably downloaded the footage. I'm probably like creating like a base layer to this vlog. I think I filmed some B-roll in Gary's office because basically they're like, here's, I don't know, a folder of footage from whatever day it was. I forget, because they were like 2 months backlog. They're like, here's this folder, make a DailyVee. And the footage that day was just like very jumbled. There was no story to it, not a lot of substance to it at all, which sucked. Because you don't want to, like, this is your like, I'm being graded on this almost, and it's, I'm getting luck of the draw. But I filmed some B-roll in Gary's office, and that was like the first time, like, I don't know, like, I don't know, I guess incorporated B-roll from a different day or something, and I included like cinematic bars, and like I remember people were like bugging about that when I first dropped that first vlog, which was so funny. But later, to wrap up this entire first day, it was like 8:30, and I'm still there because I'm in it. I'm like, I'm gonna work late. I'm gonna work late hours, like no matter what. And I get a text from like Caleb the first day, and they're like, "Hey," he's like, "Hey," it was like, I think it was a group chat with me, Caleb, and D-Rock, and he's like, "Can you film G at like 10:30 tonight?" And I was like, and he doesn't know if I can film or not. Like, he knows me a little bit, and I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, I definitely can. He's like, okay, he's gonna be at this restaurant. He's gonna be meeting with Mike Boyd and a rapper, and I think it was uh, a little baby. Maybe it's basically an up and coming rap artist. He's definitely relevant. I know he's going like Rolling Loud in New York. So um, basically, I met G at on my first day at this restaurant, and he's there early. He's sitting with I think a VaynerMedia client, and I walk in and I instantly like go to just hand him the mic, and he's like, no, no, relax. He's like, this is my client. He's like, Jason, whatever, like, introduction. He's like, sit down. He's like, want anything? We're at a bar, and I'm like, no, no, I'm like, I'm good. He's like, no, grab it, please, grab a beer. He's like, go sit down. He's like, I'm gonna finish this conversation. He's like, and then the next beat's coming up, and I was like, okay, and I don't know, I just like sat at the bar for like maybe like half hour, drank a beer. uh, Rap artist comes in, Mike Boyd comes in, and basically just filmed that meeting. It was never published. It was kind of like loud in there, and I don't think, like, we don't always publish the hip hop meetings, but it was interesting. Like, actually, Gary brought me over during his client meeting. He's like, Jason, he's like, come over here. He's like, tell like my client like how you got in here, because he kind of heard the story. Like, I mean, he basically like was like, yo, in 40s, like, you're hired. All in all, it was a very, very different kind of first day. Like, I haven't experienced a beer at the bar with Gary since. So it was very interesting, to say the least.
That's crazy. And then, like, I talked to Danny, and she was saying how when you first started, you were commuting from Long Island every single
Yeah,
day, right?
totally. So yep. So literally, like, that night, I'm finishing up that rapper meeting at like 11:30 midnight, and I'm catching the next train. I'm not getting home until like 2:30, and this is my first week. Like, I'm making sure I'm getting back by, like, I'm getting to the office by like 7:30. So I'm catching like 4 hours of sleep and doing that commute all again. Um, and in reality, I could have literally just texted D-Rock and be like, listen, I need some sleep. And he would have been like, got you, bro. Like, that's how it works now. But on day two, that's just like, just not how you're thinking. You're like, okay, like, you're a soldier. Like, you're in there. Like, you're like, make sure I execute this job. Like it's my fault. I live on like Long Island almost. So
Yeah. Like, so how long is that commute then? It's like 2 hours?
yeah, and I don't do it anymore. I live in New Jersey now, but I did it for a while. Yeah, it's 2 hours, because you basically, from my house to the train station was about 20-30 minutes, and then you have an hour and a half train and like a 10-minute walk, and by the time at your desk, that's 2 hours each way. So it was like, my life was work, and a lot of it is. But like, when I first started, it was a lot.
No kidding. That's crazy. But I did want to kind of jump back to where you're talking about editing that first DailyVee. And you saw the content was kind of jumbled, and you ended up shooting some extra B-roll to add some fluff to it. And one thing that Dania said to me when I was talking to her was just like the storytelling chops that you need to work there to take a DailyVee where there's not much structure to it, and find and pull a story out of that. It's like, what's kind of your workflow when it comes to editing a DailyVee to find that story and piece it all together?
Yeah, and it's basically, when I got that first folder, and when I soon realized, soon after that, each folder, most days don't have a story. Most days don't start with Gary saying like, "What's up, vlog? Like, this is today, and this is what we're doing." It's just like, it's like random meetings, and catching hot moments. So there is no story typically when you're going in. There's more of a cadence now. We're filming so much that I can find certain themes that he's talking about throughout the day, and that's kind of how I build a, quote unquote, story. But my workflow, it's different now, just because I'm primarily filming right now, since Gary's been back from vacation in this fourth quarter. So I know like all the content that's coming in, and I'm trying to make sure like, hey Gary, can you talk to the camera? Like we've been telling him a little bit more like, hey, we're timely in the vlogs. Like I'm like, I want you to talk to them more. I want it to seem like more real time, because it is. So I do get a little story out of that. Hey, here's where like, this is the recap. This is the beginning. So there is some sustenance there. But like true like workflow, like I'm putting all the footage on my timeline, whether that's 3 hours or 9 hours, I'm putting all of it. And then my first step is I'm blocking off. Basically, I'm color coding like almost chunks of the day. I'll be like, the morning keynote, and then like that's like red, and then like the drive to the airport is in green, and then at the airport is yellow, and then land in Boston is this, and then so basically I've blocked it out. So I know there's like in my head now I have chapters. So I'll have like 6 blocks, and that's already in my head is just like it's organizing it for me. And then I go in, and then I'll start basically lifting up hot moments. Like I'll start in the first one, like at the keynote, like what were the best moments there, and I'll push those up to another layer. And then by the end of that, I'll have all these highlights of when Gary said something, whether it was a super dope moment that you'd see on Instagram, or it was a super raw moment that was funny, like him razzing D-Rock. So now I have basically like all the sustenance of what this vlog will become. And then I like to essentially copy those hot moments, basically in time order, and just start building from there, adding B-roll and adding, past content, like throwback content, because you might recall something. That's kind of essentially a lot of the times how it formulates.
So like how long then would you say it takes to edit just one 12-minute episode or so of DailyVee?
It's funny, like if I walked in tomorrow and Sanan's like, hey, you're not filming, could we roll out a DailyVee for tomorrow? I'd be like, yeah. Like I think, I don't know, I feel really strong when it comes to vlog building, and I think, you can give me 600 gigs of content. That's kind of like how I'll describe it. A lot of it is like I'll see the folder, and the first thing I see is like how big that folder is, and I'll know, is this going to be a hard edit? Is there a lot of footage in there? And even vice versa, like it has 50 gigs, and I'm like, man, is this vlog? But basically, like I could turn over something that I would consider good and healthy, within, I don't know, like 6 hours, like really like push through the content. But I think a healthy DailyVee, like on average, is you're putting close to 10 to 12 hours of like really thoughtful energy into it, I would say.
That's wild. And then were you
Yeah.
involved in the Dubai vlog at all?
Yeah, definitely. I it was like my, I don't know, 12th DailyVee or something. I was pretty fresh into my career on the team, and D-Rock got back from Dubai and then put the footage on the server. And then I don't know how they scheduled, because we have it so structured now through like Asana of like what like videos going out. But basically I knew that my next vlog I had to make was Dubai. And then, like I said, like I put all the footage on my timeline, and it was laughable. It was like literally like 16 hours of content. And I was like, whoa. I was like, D-Rock. And I'm not like that close to him, but I'm like jamming with him. I'm like, bro, it's like, I'm like, you were filming a lot. Like, I'm like, you really didn't sleep. Like, it was just like, that's a lot of, because they were only there for like a day. So I'm like, this is crazy. And while I'm talking to him that morning, I was like, what if I just hit Control M, which is basically to render out your sequence. And I was like, what if I just Control M it and we just call it a day? And he's like, cool. And I was like, no. I'm like, he's like, no. He's like, we've been thinking about doing like, like a raw vlog. And I was like, well, I'm like, we could do it. I'm like, that'd be kind of, I'm like, this idea is really cool. Like the whole, like an actual raw, like just behind the scenes. And that's honestly how the Dubai vlog came to be. I'm only stopping because, can you hear that noise? The alarm?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, that's gonna go off.
That's all good.
Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. We'll power through it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's fine. So that's basically how that Dubai vlog was like birthed. Like I was given all this content, and I had this joke that turned into an idea that, was a text to Gary, hey, could we do this thing? And then it started formulating from there. And it was a lot more work than it sounds than hitting Control M. But that's how that came to be.
That's wild. And then so like with the amount of content that you guys push out there every single day, like you said, it takes, we'll just say on average 10 to 12 hours to edit a daily V. Like how are you able to push out so much content so fast and so frequently?
Um, it's so structured now. Like it's really interesting looking back when I joined the team, how unorganized stuff was. And not even that it was bad. It was just it was just less organized. Like, and we learn each day. And right now, like our process is what I think is awesome, but it's gonna change. And like we're gonna look back in 6 months and be like, whoa, that was like not like the right way to do things. But right now, just to speak on that question, uh, we're broken up into channels. Like I am on the YouTube, and Dustin and Danya are on the Instagram, and Sherelle's on Facebook now. And those are just the video creators. And then there's someone else. There's so much like other brains behind each of those channels. So everyone's like focused on like their own thing, and that's why you're able to just push so much out because we're not like jumping out. Like it used to be like I'd make the DailyVee, but I have to make the micro for Instagram and make sure the swipe up moments are going out, and then it was just a whirlpool of just all this stuff, which was fine because we were like producing so much volume. But now it's like when you know like exactly what your job like kind of entails, that's I don't know. I feel like our whole team can push out so much more that way.
Yeah. And then like in terms of like how you're talking about making those the micro content and stuff, one that I had written down here that I think popped off really well for you guys that you weren't necessarily expecting was the blueberry post.
Yeah. The Blueberry post was incredible. It was funny. That was literally the last time I did a podcast. Maybe the first time I did a podcast. It was a call in like this. And as I'm walking to Vayner, it was on a Sunday. Gary, I think I don't have the exact story. And Caleb can like, speak for it the best because he is like the creator and the catalyst of it. But I think Caleb hit the video squad and Gary separately with this video, this moment of Gary eating the blueberries, and I think he just hit the video squad first, which is like D-Rock and me and Dustin and Dania. I think Dania was on the team, yeah. Um, and basically we laughed at it. We're like, that's dope. And then basically like Gary hits the squad, our whole team, and was like, hey, what do you guys think of this? And he's like, I want your answer. And everyone hit them back. They're like, it's different. Like it shows who you are. Like, you know, all this stuff. And then he posted it, and then it went super viral. And it was awesome to see. Like, I think Caleb like found it as a joke, and then it became a real thing. Like, and then even before it popped off, like Gary was pretty thoughtful about it. Like, why would this work? And then it did. And that's a little bit, that's my kind of like lens behind it. I'm sure Caleb can speak a little bit more behind it because he edited it. But that's how it was for me.
That's like, so when you guys are looking for micro content, then is there anything specific that you look for? Cause like, I guess you're not necessarily looking for a moment like the blueberry post. So like when you go in, is there anything that you're looking for specifically or just anything that kind of jumps off the page?
Yeah. Like 6 months ago, or maybe like 3 months ago, I was doing a lot of like the cutting, or everyone on the video team was doing a lot of the finding and the cutting of these micro moments because we were all producing them. Whereas I don't make Instagram content as of the past like month and a half. So I'm only just, so right now like the answer is I'm just sending hot moments. Like if I'm going through the DailyVee, I'm like, hey, like here are some hot moments. But I'm not stressing because I have another guy on my team, Sinan, more of a like strategist and channel manager. He's already like logged that content. He's already consumed it with timestamps and whatnot. And I'm not like afraid that like this moment's gonna get lost if I don't like submit it. But if I find real good heat, I'll hit up a few people on my team. I'm like, listen, like I thought this was really cool. I don't know if you guys have this logged already. And he's like, awesome. So that's right now. Back then, it was just finding really condensed hot moments because we didn't have IGTV. It was like you can only fit 60 seconds. So if you knew you had 40 seconds of Gary just going off with one fluid thought, or you could turn 2 minutes into 45 seconds or 60 seconds, and his thought was delivered, like that was a great micro. Like that's how we went about it. Now it's different with IGTV. We could do such more like long form, and which is so beautiful. Like I feel like so much of his thoughts were getting like stripped away because of the 60-second thing. Like, and now I don't know. We don't actually talk about that a lot, but that's definitely a thought. Like it's really like nice that like Gary's thoughts can just kind of ride out in a 2-minute video versus a 50-second video because there's so much more context, especially with his message.
Mm-hmm. And can you talk to me about making a piece great but not perfect?
Yeah, it's like the story of my life, man. It's I don't want to call it frustrating. It's just like I'm graded on it, and this is like the first time where like there's so many eyeballs on my work, and it's not even like that. I mean, I get DMs and stuff, like people like, I love your work. Um, but like there, I mean, what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of comments where like the editing's sick and this video is awesome, and I definitely like those make me feel great. But I'm not like I try to lean into more of like the not hearing the cheers and the boos. Um, but back to the question, like there's only so much time you can put into it, a vlog that's supposed to be coming out timely, so it can be really good, but it's never going to be perfect because like it's a movie, quote unquote, that you just spent 8 hours on. Like there's going to be mistakes, like there's going to be you're going to look back and be like, I should have told the story totally different, and you're like, I wonder what would have happened if I used that moment instead of this moment. So you're never gonna know. Like literally, I put in so much. Like I've had like 3 days to make a vlog or a week to make a vlog, like, and they came out really pretty. And then they'll do like 60,000. And then I produced one last week, and it was probably like one of my worst edits. Like it was a very very simple edit. I was going away. I was going on a hike, and it was like my last thing that I had to do before I left the office, and for a few days. So it was a very simple edit. Like it wasn't like I didn't slack, but it just wasn't anything crazy, and that was my most viewed vlog. I think it's about to hit 400,000, and I was just like, of course. I'm like, of course, like literally the one that I didn't put like that much creative thoughtfulness in, like ridiculously popped off for YouTube, and that's just honestly the answer. Like quality and perfection is so subjective.
That's very true. And like, what's it like working with Gary every single day? I know like some days he's like at the office, but like for the most part, like day in and day out, what's that like?
The first thing I'm thinking about is the energy of the office when he's in VaynerMedia is the best. Like I don't know, it's unspoken, but I've definitely talked about it with Caleb. Like it just there's just more talking, and it just seems like like all ships are go. Like it's there's something about his energy in the office, and so being with him. So like that's just an example. Like uh, in a crowd, like but with him, like you feel that same thing. Like you're on. Like when you're with him, Gary's really sharp, and his time is super valuable. Like a true entrepreneur, truly values his time, and when you're with him, you almost feel like this, like the same. So that's like a short answer in terms of like energy. Um, and then being with him in general is just it's a very fun experience, man. Like to document like this top tier entrepreneur in New York City. Like there's no reason I should be in some of the meetings, like, but only because I'm good at this one craft of like documenting, and it's interesting to be in certain situations when like I definitely shouldn't be there. Like I'm just some video kid.
Does he ever surprise you with some of the things that he does, even after working there for as long as you have?
um, Surprise me. Um, yeah, I mean, like definitely. I don't know what sense. Like the first thing that came to my mind is just like kind of I don't know the right word for it, but like he'll just have like 5 minutes and he'll go on Instagram live, and next he's like licking his shoe. like literally like the first thought was it was like a few months back, and he had like a minute before a meeting, and he went Instagram live, and he was talking about I think his new shoes, and he's like, oh yeah, I stepped in some ice cream, and he's like showing the camera, and like somebody was like, is that chocolate? And he like licks it, and he's like, yeah, it's chocolate, and I'm dying. Like because like I'm so deep in the content, like this is a like world class like entrepreneur doing his thing, and this dude just like licked his shoe. So that's definitely surprising.
That's fair. And like speaking of like he's like a celebrity at this point now. Like can you talk about the level of celebrity that like you receive just by being associated with Gary? I feel like people that work for Vayner and more so Team Gary get their own level of like celebrity and fame just because of where they work.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like that's so much fact because we definitely do. There's so much attention on Gary, and there's so much brand building even behind our team by association. Like I get hit up a lot, and it's awesome. Like I definitely like it, um and the level of it. I like the highest. Like, I don't know, like, the way to describe it. Like I've posted my location at cafes, and I've had people pull up and be like, "Hey, Jason," and I was like, "Who are you?" And they're like, they're like Jacob from Instagram. I'm like, "Oh, nice to meet you." Like, and I'm cool. Like I am. Like I have humiliation, like whatever you want to describe, like empathy. Like they're just hyped and whatever. So I don't really find it that weird. It's funny to talk about. So there's definitely that's like a level of like I don't know celebrityism, right? I don't know, like, and it's not as much as I think anyone like would expect. Like, I'm like, and it's gonna come in levels. D Rock, experience is probably so many messages and probably gets selfies. You know, I see it all the time when we go to keynotes and stuff. Like people are, you know, he's definitely getting a lot of it, but he's built his own brand. So like I haven't built like a substantial brand like D-Rock has. So he's getting like carryover from Gary, but also just from like his own stuff. Like he's created a whole thing. I'm just getting it honestly because of Gary, and like Gary knows that too. Like I'll tell him like these stories. He's like, so Gary's like, so he was my fan, and I was like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, he's a fan of you, and he's like, okay, and you know, he like Gary's like hilarious like that. Like he's, you know, he gets it.
So, like, do you ever have plans then to kind of build out your personal brand more and kind of leverage where you are and grow in that sense?
Totally. I think I don't know if I ever want to be like the vlogger. I don't know if I'm going to be the Casey. But there's definitely there's a fire brewing in me where I want to do more personal content, and I don't know. Basically my main thing for a while is just give Gary 110% because, you know, it was like a lightning striking that I got this job, so I didn't want to risk that. I didn't want to like just instantly start doing both. But more and more every day, I'm like, man, I'm like, it would be fun to really like, influence or create my own thing like Peter McKinnon did or D-Rock's done. Um, but like I'm not stressing about it. Like life is long. Like I'm 24 and I don't know. I'm like I'm just having fun behind my camera. Like I'm just like I'm gonna see where it goes and what content I love. And right now it's stuff that I do with Gary and the personal stuff and that branding. It's gonna come definitely.
Mhm. Yeah, man, that's dope. And I wanted to ask what it was like, or what it is like working on Team GaryVee, because it's just such a good group of human beings that are all creative and all like driven. Like, so what is that like coming into work every single day with that group of people?
Yeah, it's the best. It's awesome. It's probably one of the reasons like I really want to be on the team for a long time, and it's because like there's this huge family unit. And as a videographer, I think you can like you can talk to people more. It was funny. I was talking to someone recently, and they're like, "Yeah, so and so has never talked to so and so on the team," which I found incredible because we're very social, like we're very close knit. But I found it crazy that like two people. I was like, hold on a second. I like grabbed them too. I was like, yo, I'm like, can you guys just like talk? You know, like can you guys? I'm like that's crazy to me because as a videographer, I feel like I'm talking to the designers and the strategists and everyone and Andy and Gary and D-Rod. Uh, so I have a huge it's a huge family. I love everyone on the team, and I'm closer with people, you know, on the video team, closer with them than other people on the team. So there's like levels to our relationships, but I don't know, there's something beautiful about like these 30 people that like go to this like Hudson Yards office and like build this brand for this guy. And like it's only gonna exist once. Like I always talk about, like this team, this thing, it only happens once. Like tomorrow at work, like that's only gonna happen once. Like because I don't know, like it's just how it is. Like Gary's brand is, I mean, it's gonna, I think, go on forever. But you know, while he's, you know, on the planet, like our team can only exist once. If that makes sense.
Mhm. Totally makes sense. But I thought it was interesting that you were talking about how like two people on the team had never talked together. So you made them kind of speak together and like you're always talking to different people. And one thing that I wrote down is that like you talk to other creatives often. Like you'll go out meet up with other creatives outside of work. Like why is that something that's important to you?
Yeah. Just because I'm getting a level of like D-Rock talked to me when I was like a very lowly creative. Like we didn't meet up in New York City or anything like crazy or extravagant, but he made time to talk to me, and when I talked to him at that time, like it was like talking to a celebrity. It was like, you know, something like that. Like I really appreciated like his time, like that he would actually like give me some advice, and now kids kind of like look up to me in that way, like a little bit, like just like nothing crazy. Like you know, we talked about like the celebrity factor, but I just I was just giving to him like blunt. I'm like, yo, I'm just like some kid. Like I was like you, dude. Like I only owned a GoPro too. Like and then like it just snowballed because I just enjoyed doing it. So I almost just feel like I was them, and like I was them 2-3 years ago or whatever. So I don't know. I'm no one special. So and it's nice. Like I like to give them a little advice. Like I wish I had. Like it's I don't know. Like it's just nice to like tell them like, yo, probably shouldn't take pictures like models all the time unless you want to be like a model photographer. Like maybe like go like find entrepreneurs to vlog because you want to like do that thing. Like don't do things that look good for Instagram.
Mhm. And speaking of Instagram, actually, I wanted to talk about Drone Junkie. So that was what your personal Instagram was before you transitioned over to your own name, right?
Yeah. So I was in school, I was in college, and so I got the drone, and I really liked drones. Like I had the GoPro, and then I had the drone. I know when I was telling the story earlier, was thinking about it, but I couldn't explain. But basically, it was GoPro. Then I got the drone, and then like soon after Casey and that. But either way, I started using the drone a lot, and that's right when like drones just started popping off, and there was like no Instagram pages. There was like 3 like substantial pages, like 50 to 100,000 followers. And I don't know. I think I just like got bored in class one day, and I just started I made like a page where I just shared awesome drone content. Some of it was mine. Originally, it was a lot of mine, and then I was like, oh, like this is just a fan page for drone enthusiasts. I'm like, cool. Like I'll just do this like in class, and I did, and I built it to like 15,000 followers, like over a year, like just posting stuff and just like just doing like Instagram was a different time back then. Like I feel like I was like I can't believe like I always look back. I'm like, how did I grow 15,000? Like I can't even do that now. Like it was absolutely crazy. But it was also because like the niche of drone was so big, and then eventually like that I turned it into my page because I let the page sit for like 18 months, and then I was like, I don't know, I always contemplated, I was like, is this going to be like a sellout move to like take on this page, and like I'm like I never wanted to like be flaunting followers or anything like that. So but then I ultimately did, because I was like, you know what, it's just like I know my intent's good, so like what do I care, like I don't care what anyone else thinks, like. And then I built it from like 15 to like whatever it is at now, and I don't know. It's like social media is funny, like I don't know, people always like, yo, you have so many followers. I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, yeah.
It's like, what was that reception then once you switched the account from Drone Junkie to your name? Like, were people like, what the fuck's going on, man? Or was it just like a pretty positive reception?
Yeah, there wasn't like the drone page was pretty dead. Like there wasn't like people on there like upset or anything. Nobody cared about Drone Junkie. So that was fine. And then I don't know, I made the switch, and no one cared. No, like nothing. Like no messages came out of it. It's just when I like give someone, like when I bump into someone and I give them like my Instagram, they're like, whoa, you have a lot of followers. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I built like a lot of them. But I'm like, but I had this drone page, and I'm like, so it's funny. Like I don't know. Like it's not annoying to explain it, but like it's funny how like people like think I'm like, I don't know, better just because might have like a few extra followers than them. I don't know.
So like, what are some things that you've done then to grow that page? Like you said, you grew from like 0 to 15K when it was the drone page, but since then you've grown it over, and I think it's about 10,000 plus more
Yeah.
followers. It's becoming your name. It's like, what are some things you've done that have allowed you to grow that page?
I mean, I'm just friends. I literally told everyone on my old page, which wasn't like that big. It was like, yo, everyone just go follow the new one. So like that brought over like, my friends and whatnot. And then I was just posting like my photography, man, and I do a lot on my stories a lot, and a lot of people like the screen recording thing that I do. So not
I
that
was gonna
like that,
bring that up.
yeah, not that that's yielded a lot of followers, but nothing crazy. Like I just posting a lot. Gary's audience, like I've gotten a lot from them, and I don't want to just have like Gary's audience as my followers. Like it's nice and it's awesome, like because I can like give them like that insider like feel, like they see pictures and stories of like behind the scenes, and I guess that's cool because like I follow filmers. I follow like Jess Davis, who filmed for like Will Smith, and he'll post like behind the scenes stuff, and that's just cool. Like I don't know, I think that's just how I've been like, I guess, going at it. But I have no true strategy. I'm not like putting out like a podcast or anything yet, but there's
Mhm.
there's definitely a lot to do, like way more like structured things.
That's very fair. And then, so, but like you mentioned your Instagram stories. So like you just try and do create different creative things with it, right? Like, so when you talk about the screen recording thing, it's like you'll open your camera app on your iPhone and then record the screen and post the recording through
Yeah,
like the lens of your, like the iPhone camera, if
yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I did it one day. Honestly, I did it because I realized that when you take a video, at least on iPhone, it crops it a little bit. It like if you go from photo to video, like your screen will like zoom in a little bit. And I don't know what I was taking a picture or video of, but I just wanted it to be wider. I just wanted a wider shot, which is awesome that you can get like the iPhone 11. Like the wide thing is pretty awesome. The wide camera. I don't know if, yeah. But yeah, that was literally why I did it. And then I screen recorded it, and I was like, I wonder if this is gonna work, or it's gonna like glitch or something or lag, and then it just worked fine. I was like, oh, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'm like, this is interesting. Like it's a wider camera, and it's pretty clean looking once you put it on your story. It's not like overwhelming. And I'm like, this is really
Mhm.
different. I'm like, I've never seen someone record their screen before. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm definitely not like taking credit for this groundbreaking idea or anything, but no, I just put it on, and I like doing it. And now I just do it out of like, I don't even notice that I'm doing it anymore. I literally like it's just how I like taking videos, because it's, I don't know, it's a little bit like literally wider of a frame, and I don't know, I like it. It's just, it's a fun little thing to like play around with.
And then like moving from stories to the feed, you used to want to have the perfect grid. And why
Yeah.
was that? Like back in the day, why did you want that perfect grid?
Uh, I look up to a lot of guys like Peter McKinnon, Sam Colder, J.R. Alley. They're like all vloggers and filmmakers, photographers that post ridiculous photos, like absolutely amazing stuff. And their grids look fantastic. So I was like, I don't know, not trying to be like the wannabe, but I was just like, I don't know, I looked up to it. And so I was doing what I always did. I was like kind of emulating someone. Like I emulated Casey's work. Like I did Casey's vlogs at the gym. So I was just emulating. And then I found that I was just being super restrictive. And I'm still definitely posting more quality stuff. Like I have so many pictures that I take like every day and I could easily throw them up my grid. So I don't know, there's definitely some subjective quality that I have, like a level that it has to meet. But I've been trying to I post iPhone shots and I never used to do that. So I don't know, like advice honestly to like creatives, like just post more. Like I'm not even a good example of like I post about it like screw the grid. Um, but I'm not like the best example of that. Like I could post so much more, but I don't know. It's kind of just like what I like, and I don't know. It's like being self-aware, bringing some
Mhm.
Gary into it.
And I saw you post somewhere that like D-Rock talked to you about this and like changed your opinion on having the perfect grid. Do you remember
Yeah.
what he said to you that made you change your mind?
Yeah, because his grid's not perfect at all. And but his audience, his brand is he's got like a pretty strong social media presence. And so I
Mhm.
talked to him about it a little bit, and I just like told him like, yeah, I only post like just like qualities, like what I think is quality, and we jammed on that. Like he's like, we talked about like subjective qualityness. Like it's not like just because it's an iPhone versus like your Canon, like it doesn't matter. Like it's just you, like in your opinion. But either way, like I think I was struggling to write a caption like I always do, and I think I was just like talking about that with him, and he's like, why don't you just write like you're writing to like Jason from 10 years from now? And he's like, I make posts just so like I can see them in the future. I think that was like a basis of that conversation. And then it was like, dude, he's like, just post stuff. So it wasn't like a lot of substance to that convo, but there was definitely something of just like the beauty of like just screw the grid.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the other thing you mentioned there too was like how you could take a picture on your camera or you could take it on your phone. So like I saw you post as well about how like the importance of like editing a photo versus the gear of the photo. Like is that something you still stand by today? Like that more so
Yeah.
the edit than the gear is better?
100%. Editing is I think huge. I mean, like if you want to take like a long exposure shot of, I don't know, the Northern Lights, your iPhone's not going to perform like a Canon 1DX will. So equipment, like there is a barrier there, but like the content can be anything. Like I took a picture of a selfie with Nick Murphy yesterday, and I ended up downloading the live photo, and I threw like a 4-second edit on it, and to me, it's like pretty creative looking. It's actually like pretty cool, like that I took a selfie and it was a photo, but it turned into like this video like thing that I made, and it's nothing crazy, but it's stuff like that where it's like you don't need this high end equipment to like get like awesome content, and especially now like the new iPhone is crazy. My Kenny, who used to be on Team Gary, just got it and posted a video using like the slow mo to get like B-roll, and it looks absolutely incredible. So now it's like I don't even think it's like a conversation. Like phones are getting better than like DSLRs. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, isn't this that just like it just lowers the barrier of entry for creatives, right? That people that think they need that gear.
Totally. And I think like gear is important. Like, I don't know, if you want to do a proper vlog of an entrepreneur, like I think a lav mic is a very good purchase. Like it's like there's quality. But if you're good, you're good. Like I filmed, you know, the dude Ed that owned the gym, and his content was exploding in the martial arts industry, and we were using like a very cheap mic. Like so if you're good, you're good, honestly. But
Mhm.
there's a cadence to it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But I wanted to ask you too about like other social networks. Like you don't really like Instagram's your main one. Like you don't really post on Twitter. I think you only have one video on YouTube. Like why don't you post outside of Instagram?
Um, honestly, like to jump back on what I said before, I put a lot of my time into Gary, and so like that's like the big answer is most of my energy is like I produce like all the YouTube content for Gary right now. So like I'm pushing out like 3 vlogs a week. So like even though it's like that's just not on my personal page, but like if I was doing that like for myself, like I'd have a ton of videos on YouTube. So basically a lot of stuff for Gary going on right now. and and then I don't know. I just haven't put that much focus. I was never into Twitter, but now I am. Like I'm starting. I'm kind of like liking it now. Actually, like, this past week, like more so than I ever have. So there's definitely gonna be more on there. But I don't know. I just it hasn't been a focus. Like I'm pretty patient. Like it doesn't like bother me. I want to do a vlog of some sort one day, but I'm not like stressing like that it hasn't been done yet. Like there's just so much time.
That's fair. And what about TikTok? I've seen like a lot of the people on Team GaryVee hyping up TikTok
Yeah, I
lately.
can't get on the TikTok game. I don't know. Like I can't like I like it now. I don't scroll on it like I do Instagram, but Gary's brand is exploding on there. It's absolutely awesome. Caleb's been killing it. He's been like basically like head video creative behind like all of the TikTok content, and in like the first week that they officially like went in on it, they grew it like over double its size from like I don't even know like 500,000 fans or followers to like a million. It's incredible like what the momentum
That's
they have.
wild.
Very crazy. So there's so much momentum there. I'm trying to figure out like I don't know. I don't want to just make content like goofy content just to have, like I would be making it like funny stuff just to get followers and like I don't know. That just sounds like bogus to me. I want to find a video niche on TikTok that like I actually like behind the scenes of video, like or editings of something. I just know like that won't. I got to figure out how that works on TikTok. Like what would actually be like worth my time of like creating a behind the scenes or a before and after edit of a photo on TikTok. I don't want to just like I don't know. I'm not into like just like doing goofy videos. Like it's a little bit of a waste of time to me.
That's totally fair, man. But I
Yeah.
wanted to ask, this is a question coming out of left field, but I wanted to ask you about your Subaru.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
just noticed that it like pops up in your photos a lot. So I'm assuming like I know people like a couple of people's Subarus and like their Subaru is their babies. Like the same thing for you.
Yeah, my poor Subaru that sits miles away every day. Yeah, I before I got hired at Team Gary, I was living on Long Island, and you need a car to get around. It's not like the city, like it's just total suburbs, and that's how it gets to gig. And I had a Honda, and then it exploded. Like I don't know, like I don't know, I destroyed that car. And then I bought my Subaru, and that was like my first like really really big purchase. And that was awesome. Like, and I love the car, and then 2 months or 3 months after I bought it, I got hired at Team Gary, and it's interesting. Like I live in the city now, and I don't even bring my car out here because I live in New Jersey, and I don't need a car for one, like anymore. Like when it comes to like Monday through Friday, I don't need a car, and I won't leave it out here just because the roads are tight and it's gonna get all dinged up. So it sits pretty at home, and it's interesting. Like I watch a lot of Gary content, and I spend a lot of money on a car that it sits the majority of the month and the year now. But I love it. Like literally, it's like I like try to like really hard like go into Gary's message, and I'm like self-aware. Like I go home the weekend and I wash it for like literally that weekend just to see it clean and drive it. Like it just I don't know. It's like it makes me happy. Like it's a fun little car.
Mhm.
Yeah.
One other post I saw that you made, I can't remember where it was I saw this, but you were talking about the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
It's like that's something you think about often. Like honestly, I wrote that down because it's something that I think about all the time. Like if one little thing changes, like everything could be different.
Right. Yeah, no, I think about it a lot. And I think we kind of jammed in on it a little bit earlier with the paparazzi and like how I met like Nick Murphy yesterday. Like that's like a butterfly effect. Like if I didn't message him about like just the photos, like I would never have like backtracked a block and saw it. Um, it's like serendipity and timing. That's like what I put in the caption yesterday. I think it's a lot of
Mhm.
things. Like you never know. Like if I go to the city tonight, like I could probably shouldn't, right? Like it's a half-hour commute. I'm staring at it right now. But if I go to the city tonight, I might go sit at a cafe and I might edit something that somebody might see 2 years from now that like gets me a podcast like interview. Who knows? Like if I go, it's gonna change like the outcome of like my entire life, whether it's like very micro or huge. Like literally, like the butterfly effect for my like me, like the biggest one I can think of is like I filmed a CrossFit gym. It was like a side gig. This was at the time where after 40s, still working at the kickboxing school, this guy hits me up. He's like, yo, I have a CrossFit gym. I see what you're doing at the other gym. Can you do a video? And then I was like, yeah. And I shot the video. And then I never delivered because it was a free piece of content. But I ended up telling him, I was like, hey, I'm getting hired full time by the other gym. So I can't, I'm like, I don't have time to produce this. I'm sorry. And then that guy then fast forward, like, I don't know, a year and a half, that guy goes to 4Ds for Gary and brings me up. He's like, yeah, he's like, one of your other 4Ds attendees stole my D-Rock, which is not even true. Like I wasn't his D-Rock at all. Like I shot one piece. And then Nick Dio, who runs the event, is like, oh, Jason. And that's how that all came to be. Gary's like, all right, I want to hire this kid. So like,
Mhm.
if I never shot that video, like it would never have worked like this. So that's like a great example of the butterfly effect. Like,
Yeah,
like
man.
shit's just always changing.
That's true. But I wanted to ask you, like, in terms of like, is there anything like, what do you watch content wise right now? Who are you consuming outside of Gary? I know you must consume a lot of his content, but is there anyone kind of outside of that world that you consume or watch?
Um, who do I watch? Not much, honestly. I definitely like to, especially lately, I've been trying to get like a more inspiration for the vlogs. I'm really trying to make the DailyVee like a really fun vlog and different, but keep it the same, so it's not like totally rebranded or anything crazy. So I'll watch like Ryan Serhant's vlogs. I haven't met Adrian yet, but I've talked to him on DMs. He's the guy that creates it, and they create all like a totally different style of third person entrepreneurial vlog. So I watch some of their stuff. I don't know if I keep up with it. I just watch it just honestly just to see like how it flows and stuff. Um, who else do I keep up with? There's no one like I don't keep up with any other like people in the motivational side. Um, no one crazy. Like Casey, I fell off of. I think he's kind of been off his game. Peter McKinnon, he's a vlogger. I keep up with most of his content. Like, um, not as religious as I once was. Um, but honestly, most of my scrolling is done on Instagram. Yeah, nothing crazy.
That's fair. And another one too, if you like, if you watch Ryan Serhant's vlogs, just in terms of like, just to see what someone else doing a similar job to what you do does. Another good one I would recommend to check out is Steve Bartlett. I don't know if you know who that
I
is.
don't, but I can look him up.
So I kind of describe him to people. He's like a younger British version of Gary Vee. It's not completely accurate, but
Yeah.
he runs this social media agency called Social Chain, started in Manchester. They've just recently opened up an office in New York. And he used to have a vlog for a while where it wasn't him doing a lot of it. Like he had a videographer come in.
Hmm.
And those are some like, along with DailyVee, those are the other business vlogs that I really enjoy to watch. That's someone I would recommend. Do you think he slowed down on it? But like his catalog's all there.
Yeah, I'm looking
There
at.
should be out there on YouTube.
Yeah, I saw he even South Gary, so definitely like a relationship there. So that's cool. Like, yeah, I think yeah, it's cool. Like some people can like literally emulate the same thing, and I think he has like a pretty good following. It looks like so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. But I was going to ask too if there's anything like in terms of like culture, society, like things that you're kind of watching, whether it be like streetwear, different things that you're kind of observing from afar that kind of have your attention right now.
Um, I'm not like the biggest I don't care about like Supreme
Mhm.
or like Balenciaga or anything crazy like that. I don't know. Like if I'm just like giving my own like thought, like people wear like mad windbreakers now.
Yeah.
Like you see like that all like the retro colors are definitely back. Like those are definitely in. There's someone on our team. They did a piece on fanny packs for 1:37 p.m. So that's definitely in culture. Um, I don't know, but from like my own daily life, just out there and about, I don't know. It's funny going into work because we work in a very like I don't know. I like to, like maybe bougie is a good like way to explain it. Like Hudson Yards is like got like L'Oreal and these big name brands, and there's a lot of money over there. And it's I really like I laugh like every morning because I'll come in with like joggers and like a hoodie and I'm not like a mess or anything, but it's just so funny to get on like the same elevator with like big time executives and women that like are dressed just, like in like the latest fashion because they're going to like L'Oreal and whatnot. And it's funny being in that environment because I don't know a year ago like I lived on Long Island, like it's not like the sticks or anything, but it's different. It's totally different.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, man, like what's next for you? What do you have coming up?
Um. This right like so I'm in like a new chapter right now with Gary. Like he's back from like the summer was pretty slow. Like he did a lot of um international travel and he did a lot of stuff with his family. And so right now I was calling it like this is like the black hole. Like I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling and filming, and a lot of my time is going to be with Gary. So that's like the short term answer. And then long term I think I'm gonna be with Gary. I'd like to say for a long time. I think I'm learning so much there and there's so much value, and I just have like a big appreciation for the team. But I don't think it'll end there. I have a really big like attraction towards music artists, and I love vlogging. Like I don't think I'm ever gonna stop away. Like I don't make like commercials and movies. Like I like the like documentaries like side of things and like behind the scenes. And then I also really like artists right now. Like and there's definitely something formulating there. I think that's like the only thing like where I could see myself like leaving. But I don't know. I see like I see something long with Gary. Really.
Mhm. You just said something that kind of like sparked something in my brain. When you're traveling with Gary and stuff, how you were talking about, like you'll be traveling a lot. When do you guys get to eat? Because like when he's eating and he's in his meeting, like you guys are recording those meetings. Like what? Like how does that all fit into the day?
Yeah. Luckily, like I can, like my mom's always reminded me to eat like throughout my entire life, like, or hit me up and she's like, "Do you eat today?" And I'm like, "I think so." Like, so I'm never like, it doesn't really bother me as much. Like I can really go all day without eating, which is not good. Like it's a blessing and a curse. With Gary though, the man doesn't eat. Like I guess I don't know if he eats in the morning. Like I would say he eats a little bit. I think he just goes to, like, he eats a lot at night. He's always grabbing, like there's always stuff in like meetings and stuff. But there's no like scheduled like if you're smart, like I've been realizing, like bring a protein bar, like bring like buy like a shake, like because it's just you're on the move, like literally. I mean, you've heard it through Caleb and probably Daniel. Like his schedule is absolutely, it's a joke. It's 5 minute, 3 minute, 2 minute, run here. Got to get in the plane. Like we're gonna miss it. Like it's absolutely crazy and awesome. So there's no scheduled time for like lunch or run out. Especially when you're filming and traveling, it's like be smart. Like on the last trip to Boston, like there was some food in our green room slash like hotel room before his talk. So I got to eat a bunch of fruit and some coffee while Gary like took a shower or something, like, so that worked out. It's totally random. There is no scheduling to food.
That's interesting. That's just something I never actually thought of before. That just kind of hit me now.
Yeah,
But
yeah, totally. Like you're just on the fly. Like no one's telling you to eat, and no one's getting food for you.
yeah. And then I was going to ask about long-term goals, like not just like the next year or two, but like down the line, like 10, 15, even 20 years, like what's some of your long-term goals? Is it to kind of get into music and be doing kind of what you're doing for artists, or like what is kind of your big picture long-term goal?
Yeah. So I mean, like my first answer is like I would still love to say I'm part of like this Vayner world, but like being really realistic, like I'm probably gonna move on, and I'd really like I'd love to work for like a really top tier artist, like a Post Malone or an Ariana Grande. I'd love to be like on their content creation team, whether it's like being their D-Rock or like really helping with the branding. I don't know. I'm really trying to like manifest that moment where I'm filming for like someone big time like that. So I think I see that, but I don't see that like being like, because the lifestyle is like it can't be permanent, like always on the road, always filming. Um, so I don't know. I think about it a lot, but at the same time, like I don't know. I always think about like maybe I'll have like a gig where it's this maybe a vlog or some sort of branding, but it's only like 9 months of the year, and then like the other three, like I don't know, I take it more easy, and my career won't be as crazy, and like I won't make as much money if I do that. But I don't know, I enjoy a lot. I like travel, and I actually am not a big fan of the city,
Okay.
and all that. So like I don't know. I kind of want to, if I'm gonna like be happy and make a dope life, like I'd like to be able to like live in Colorado or like Vermont or something, enjoy like that side of things. It's just something I
Mhm.
like versus the city hustle all the time.
What is it about the cities? I feel like everyone talks about New York like it's this great, amazing place. But like, is it just like too busy, or like what is it
Yeah,
about you that doesn't make it like your
yeah,
favorite
don't get me
spot in the
wrong,
world?
like it's absolutely incredible, like it's, and I get a lot of insight from people that message me that like I'm like, wow, this guy like lives in Tennessee or this guy lives in India, and like and he has no idea what New York City is and what that means, and he can't grasp like the opportunities that are here because there are so many. And so there's so much love for it because it's just crazy how, you know like everything worked out, and Gary, like he could have been stationed in California and I would have had to move to California. Like it's just very serendipitous that like it was really close to my house, and there's a lot of stars that aligned, and I'm really grateful for like New York, because there's so much opportunity, like literally, like especially in the video like entrepreneurial vlogging thing, like there's just so much opportunity there. But in terms of like what I dislike, I don't know, it's just like I'm just more of a nature dude. Like I like love hiking, and it's a little bit of chaotic. Like I always call the New York City commute like absolutely comical. Like you never know, like you just don't know what's gonna happen on that commute. Like it might whip by, it might take forever, like who knows what you're gonna see, smell, like anything. Yeah, like I've had some of the craziest commutes, just simply trying to go home, and that's not always convenient, and that kind of like it doesn't stress me out, and it's definitely like first world problems, but um, it's just it's a different world. Like it's totally different living out here, even from 2 hours away on Long Island.
Very fair. Like when I was there in February for a little bit, I got to experience the commute, just trying to get back to our Airbnb during rush hour, and it
Yeah,
was a gong show.
yeah. Where'd you guys stay?
We stayed in, where were we? We were just over in Jersey, just on the other side, Union
Oh,
City, maybe.
that's where I live.
Oh yeah.
That's where I'm sitting right now.
Oh wait. But like, yeah, like we were
So
like, we
you
didn't.
experienced it firsthand. So yeah, literally you have to go through Lincoln Tunnel. It's crazy. But it's not the worst commute. Like I know people like you come from Brooklyn. Like Danielle always tells me like horror stories, like on the L train. Like, but yeah, like it's a totally different world. It's just really taxing to me. Like I don't know. Like I'm not trying to be weak sounding about it, but it's just very taxing to like always have to like I don't know. Like it's a lot of energy just to get to like the start of your job and and that's fine. Like I'm gonna like power through it, and it kind of like motivates you to like really kill your day because like you gotta be in it. Like I feel like in New York, um, and a lot of it is energy. Like now that I'm thinking about it, like there is something about New York where it's like every person is trying to be busier than the other person, and everyone's trying to ladder bigger than the other person. And there's definitely a competitive thing, which is awesome. That's definitely a beautiful thing. Like that's where you see like hyper growth and in like careers and like people and you meet so many people. So there's beautiful things like hands down. But there is something where it's just like I don't like how like like it just shouldn't have to be like that where like people are trying to like be better and whatnot. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know. I haven't solidified the thought, but yeah, I'm a little more simple person than like that.
That's fair. And then before we wrap up, I ask everyone the same standard, like 5 questions.
Yeah,
First one being, you're going to dinner. You can take 3 people. It could be anybody dead or alive. Who do you take to dinner?
dead or alive. Wow. All right. Interesting. I don't want to like prolong my answer, but right off the bat, I'm gonna bring my buddy Ed. He's someone that like
Okay.
he's the guy that owns the gym. He's really helped out my life, and he's definitely just good to have at the dinner table. Like he's good energy and like just holds good conversation. So I'm bringing him almost like as someone to just help out the conversation, and we can relate on a lot of things. Um, who else am I bringing? I'm probably bringing Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers
Okay.
because he's dope and I really like the Peppers and I would love to jam with him. And I don't know, one more person with me, Ketis, and Ed. I don't know. I like almost want to bring Gary just because.
Yeah.
I might bring Gary. I'll bring Gary.
Okay.
I'll bring Gary with me. And I don't know if that's like the most dope answer, but yeah, me, Gary, Ketis, and Ed.
Dope. Um, what's some of the best advice you've ever gotten?
Best advice I've ever gotten. Um, hmm. Um, oddly enough, I'm not gonna bring up his name, but someone showed me like the value of like how much money I was worth in video, and not that it was much, but it was the first time. Like it was basically when I was working for Ed, and I had been in it, and I'd just been making videos, and I finally like quit State Farm, and I graduated school, and or actually no, it's right before that moment. It's right before I'm about to graduate, and it's right before I know I'm gonna quit State Farm, only to do video. And this gentleman, he's a videographer. He was just telling me like he's like, bro, he's like, do you realize like he's like, if you're not making 6 figures by like next year, he's like you're doing something like you're not like you're undervaluing yourself, and it's not about the money or anything like that. But that was the first time I was like, oh shit, like there was a little bit of advice there. Where I was like, I'm like I do have value in this game. Like I'm like because I always thought like I'm a scrappy kid. I didn't even consider myself a videographer or a photographer for a very long time, and that was I don't know if it's my biggest piece of advice. Like the dude Ed Skit, like he definitely changed like the way I like look at life because and he talks a lot of like Gary. But that was a moment though where I was like, oh shit, like I do have value in this game, and I never gave it thought because like literally I came into it never wanting to make a dollar, like it was yeah like it. My career is very strange. Like I always say like I should have never really became a videographer or been in this position. Like it's pretty nuts.
Mhm. When your alarm goes off in the morning, what motivates you to get out of bed?
Um, the unknown, especially if it's a filming day, the unknown of like what can transpire in the next like 16 hours. So the unknown.
All right. What is one thing about you people would not expect?
Um, hmm, people would not expect about me. Um, man, I don't know. That um, I think that I don't know. People would be surprised at like how much I really appreciate like honestly like nature and like isolation. Like I went hiking for like 3 days in the woods by myself. I'm really into like the outdoors in that sense. I'm no like Christopher McCandless like going into the Alaskan wilderness or anything, but especially if I'm talking to like city friends now, like they'd be surprised like if I properly like vlogged like my 3 days in this New Hampshire wilderness that I was at, that they would be like damn bro, like like you were out there. So yeah.
That's awesome. What's one thing so important that everybody needs to know?
Um, whoa. One thing everyone needs to know. I'm such in like a camera and creative thought process right now. Like I want to give so much advice, just like a creative. I don't know. So if I'm gonna go with that answer, like literally, like if you have any inkling that you like want to use a camera or that you like taking photos or video, like you really should, because I did that and like it really changed my life. I always joke around with my friends, and I was like, bro, like I just turned on a GoPro one day and I don't know what happened. like so that's for like the fellow creatives, but I don't know. I would say life is long. Like everyone's like, I don't know, always stressing like to get shit done, and I think like getting it done and doing stuff quick, but there's something truly like magical in Gary's thing where it's like micro hustle and macro patience.
No, I completely agree. And then for the last question, I kind of like to flip the script a little bit. So, like, if you had a crystal ball that could show you the answer to anything, what is one question you'd want to know the answer to?
Um, wow. Deep question. I always like to like take it super seriously. So, interesting answer to something. I don't know if I mean, I could go like super humanity and be like the cure to like a disease or something, and that would be beautiful. But if I'm going selfish, I don't know. Man, it's a very interesting question. I really like it. Hmm. Man, I might go crazy. I might go super selfish and like crystal ball. Like, know who like I like end up getting married to, because like I think it's ultimately gonna like I'd like to say I ultimately will, because whatever. But it would be very interesting to look into a crystal ball and then see this person that like somehow or another like you're gonna end up meeting this person whether you know them or not, and you're gonna live and know this person for a long time. I think that would be super interesting to see someone that like you're ultimately gonna know, or you already know already, and you're like, how is that gonna happen? Which could
That's just,
yeah. Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, but with the butterfly effect, then like, could that not then change? Because
It's
like you,
exactly where I'm going with it. I would only ask. I think I'd have to sign some paperwork and be like, listen, like if I ask for this, like is it going to screw me up? Like, so, it could like, and I think it would, like if you found out something like that. So yeah, there's something there with the butterfly effect. If you find out, like it might mess up the outcome. So yeah, I believe in that.
totally. But I just want to thank you for taking the time to come on the podcast, man. I want to give you the floor, plug everything and anything you got right now. Where can the people find you?
Yeah, I think the best spot is on my Instagram. It's my first name Jason, and it's my dot my last name Morena. That's the best place to just hit me up. I post there mostly right now, and yeah, that's my plug.
Awesome, man. Well, I want to thank you once again for taking the time to come on the show.
This is a lot of fun. I haven't done many podcasts at all, and it's good to be like thoughtful. Like there's something, not even just for the content, but it's cool to just like kind of be thoughtful about everything going on.
No, I completely agree. And that's the thing. Like, I meet up with my friends all the time, but we never necessarily have a conversation that gets this deep and about this many different
100%.
things.
Yeah,
I
no,
really
like,
enjoyed it.
yeah, there's something beautiful about that. So no, it's definitely, and I want like basically not to keep the conversation going, but I wanted to start a podcast right before I got hired for Gary, and it never happened. I just wanted a free form, thoughtful thing with my friends, and this definitely is giving me a little more like love for that, like to do that, like to make that shit happen. So thank you.
Yeah, no, anytime, man. And let me know when that podcast is out because I'm definitely going to want to listen to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Awesome, man. Well, I want to thank you once again for taking the time. And I want to thank everybody for listening to this podcast. Whether you've listened the entire way through, you've only listened to bits and pieces. I really appreciate you taking the time to check this out. Guys, do me a favor, go and follow Jason on Instagram. Check out his Twitter. I'll make sure everything is linked in the show notes down below. And if you'd like to follow me, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Jacob Kelly. Feel free to come and say hello. My DMs are always open. And if you'd like to follow the podcast, you can find us on Instagram at My Social Life Podcast or by searching us up on YouTube at My Social Life. Thank you once again for listening, everybody. We'll talk soon.